Okay, it says I'm live, so we're going to wait and see if more people show up. We got 6 people, so that's something. This was not a great episode. It really wasn't. The only good part was Fatima telling Zach about her family history. Sorry for the background noise, but I need the fan on because it's hot in here. So we're going to wait. Hopefully notifications went out. I couldn't tell you if they did or not, but all I got to say is I was right. But no, what was it? Monday, right? I think it was Monday when I made that tweet. Unpopular opinion over the past few episodes of the last few episodes of Zatima, last week's episode of Sistas. Has anybody else noticed Fatima acting Karen-like when she interacts with Zach? Got dragged for it. Bunch of people on Twitter try to come at me. But now in the final scene of this episode, you saw it. You saw it for yourself. No notifications. I just tweeted, so hopefully people come. I want to see if I can do it again. There's a share button, so I'm just going to try to do it. Yeah, y'all on Twitter, y'all like, yeah, the props go to Jeremy. He said Fatima was acting like Karen and got dragged for it, but where y'all at? Where's the ringleader? That one woman that runs the Crystal fan page. She was the one talking all the crap. Yeah, Fatima was doing way too much. Okay. Yeah, notifications didn't go out, but for the few who are here, we're going to talk about it. The episode itself, the fan page, yeah, I forgot her name though. She was like the ringleader who was starting all that trash. And then like I looked and she only had like 1,000 followers, and I oh man. To say things like, you know what, you're just doing this for content, you're doing this for views. No, I stated my opinion and people went off. So now the question is, where are the ringleaders? Like, that one shit, I forgot her name, and I'm not just omitting her name not to put her out there. I literally forgot her name, and it was a lot of tweets, so I don't feel like scrolling through them, but it was the woman on Twitter who runs the Crystal fan page. Some people like, block him, he talking all this trash. That's probably why they aren't on Twitter right now, because they blocked me, but that's their fault, whatever. Anyway, let's talk about the episode. If I were to give it a score, I'd probably give it a 4 out of 10 because, first of all, Danny got on my nerves. She really got on my nerves. So the sisters are in their mid to late 30s, give or take. Why is it when one sister or more walks in on another sister, as Andy put it, having festivities with a man, why do they always act like horny teenagers when a parent walks in the room without knocking? And why is the man always the one that has to leave because one or more of the women came over unannounced? How does that make sense? That doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. I don't understand that for the life of me. Secondly, Andy and Gary, I'm not even going to say anything. What can I say that hasn't already been said before? The fact that Andy is playing this game where she's going to entertain multiple men, and then when it blows up in her face, she wants to cry victim. Enough said. So Gary has to take a hike. Danny was talking all this trash about Andy. Is the fact that oh, hang on a second, somebody's treating me. No, they quiet tonight. All those people. Oh, anyway, sorry about that. Um, yeah, that's the thing. She messed around with Robin. Like, how does she think that's gonna, work out in the near future? So, but no, but Danny, she's up there talking. She's trying to guilt trip Andy for not caring about Sabrina. Why haven't you called Sabrina or Karen? First of all, just like you went over to Calvin and Maurice's apartment, Andy went over to the salon. She called Karen multiple times, but she's not answering the phone. And like she said, they're grown people, like they can do their own thing. But Danny, she's trying to make Andy feel like she's not doing anything. And it's the Eugene, what you just said. I'm going to be talking about Karen in a second. The fact that she's acting all soft and sweet, but then she'll act like a complete you know what right after. But yeah, in any case, Danny acting like Andy doesn't care. But Danny, Logan told you to tell Sabrina to get a good lawyer. You didn't do that. You just went over to the apartment and was saying, "Oh, if you ain't doing nothing shady, don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine." And now you're trying to act mad because nothing can be done for Sabrina. It's stupid. It really is. Okay. The Calvin thing. This was embarrassing because right before the episode, I said, you know what? It's about who wants it more. Is it Q who wants the warm bed and the warm, what, the woman in the bed? Or is it Calvin who wants to get revenge for his roommate and his love interest being betrayed and locked up? Not only did Calvin start the fight, but he got his behind whooped. And that was embarrassing. Like, what was that little shove he did? Look, I've never been in a fight, so maybe I'm not the best person to commentate, but what was that shove he did? And then it looked like he grabbed Q by the head. I thought he was going to like do a headbutt, like, bah! But no, it felt like Cal was trying to cop a feel in the middle of a fight and he was getting beaten. So Chris was just, I don't know what he was doing, but let's be honest here. If Chris hadn't have pulled Q off of Calvin would have been beaten to a bloody pulp. So yeah. I mean, technically the only fight he didn't start was with Jacoby, because the reason Jacoby jumped in was because Calvin grabbed Sabrina by the shoulder as she was trying to leave, and then Jacoby like shoved him, and then Calvin got knocked out. The Bio fight, even though Bio was rude for the way he went up to the table and interrupted their date, he was very apologetic, but Calvin wouldn't let it go. He started that fight, and if Sabrina didn't break it up, he was going to lose. But in this case, he started the fight and got whooped. Simple as that. Sabrina hasn't been in the episode since episode 1. My guess is Novi was probably busy with filming one of the multiple films she has coming out now on like Tubi and whatnot and BET Plus. So maybe she has a reduced role this season because she's going to be in jail. Sabrina and Maurice are going to be in jail like Catherine. Yeah, that's why I figure. Oh yeah, that woman that Q had, yeah, she was good. She was good looking. All right. So yeah, instead of calling the cops, which is what they should have did all of season 4, Calvin decides that's the right thing to do, and he's not doing that. But tried to do things the gangster way, the street way, and you got your butt kicked. So I don't really know. I don't know. Okay, so we talked about Q and Calvin. We talked about Andy. We talked about Danny. Don't worry, I want to get to Karen and Fatima. Yeah, the Preston. Okay, so Preston left town. We can assume he's in Texas. So he's willing to fly back to Atlanta that night just to talk with Danny. This is pitiful. This is really pitiful. Like, Trinity is an actor. Love the guy. But in terms of the character, Preston, no, he just needs to go. Um, well, yeah. So I guess the only thing left to talk about is the Karen stuff. While her mom makes a good point, it's the fact that we're still going on about this whole feelings thing. Oh yeah, King Jason so 5, thanks for the shout out on Twitter, because you know how the people were coming at me on Monday about the whole thing about the tweet I made, and now my tweet turned out to be right. So man, I'm glad, because I tweeted today. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do the video yet. I need to wait until the night's episode to feel that gives me more, you know, evidence, and the final scene proves it. Because the point of my tweet, it wasn't to say Fatima. No, my tweet was this. It was saying that Fatima is acting more like Karen in terms of how she interacts with Zach, how she talks to Zach. It's not that, you know, she's tearing him down. I didn't mention that tearing down can be multiple things. It doesn't have to be the harsh way that Karen talks to Zach. It could be the lack of faith and confidence. Every time Fatima asks Zach, do you still love Karen? That's chipping away. That's tearing him down. Believe it or not. I don't know why that's so hard to comprehend. And I'm looking at some of the tweets right now. But in any case, yeah, Miss Lisa, she's telling Karen, hey, write down all your feelings, put it in a letter, and then if you can be calm enough, let's invite the two men over here so you can let your feelings be known, and then that will be that, so you can move on. But while I like that idea, Karen straight up said, I just want to move on from Zach. And the past season and a half, you have been doing nothing resembling moving on. That's the annoying part about this. You keep saying, like, you know, oh, I just want to do right by his baby. But then when your mom called you out for that, you said, I don't even know if it's his baby anymore. It's like she's literally beginning to realize how dumb she's been acting, but it's not going to last that long. Also, more to the point, and I've said this last week, Miss Lisa, so far, I've loved the character. I've loved her return. I understand why she's acting the way you're acting. Oh, excuse me. I understand the way Miss Lisa is acting because of Mama Bear mode, but the fact that Miss Lisa is going to get Karen to put all of her feelings out there and then tell the men, I hope that Aaron and Zach have the same opportunity to speak their truth. Zach, like, you know, Miss Lisa, I paid her back all the money she said I owed her. Miss Lisa, she got me arrested. She chose Aaron before I even met Fatima. So all this talk about her wanting me back and everything, she already moved on. So why is it a problem when I move on? That's the kind of things I want brought up. I don't want it to just be Karen speaking what's on her heart and then acting hurt when the results don't come back the way she wants to, because even if she writes this letter, it's not going to bring Zach back. So that could be why in episode 6, the synopsis is Karen decides to turn all of her fury to Zach because he doesn't go back with her. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and Fatima was just a load this episode. She really was annoying. I did love the world building, mentioning Madam, not by name, but the fact that Fatima could have been a part of Club Eden is something else. But then we move to the end of the episode. Okay, I'm not going to lie. Zach was a bit cruel when it came to Aaron. Now, let me hear me out. Aaron talking about like not stressing her out and everything. I do agree with Zach that, hey, I ain't got nothing to do with that. She's the one who's blowing up our phone. She's the one who keeps popping up at our house. That's on her for stressing herself out. I'll give him that. But it's like Aaron, he was actually trying to come to Zach as a man and mature, but Zach pretty much bit his head off. And then the whole thing about people taking shots when you're around, that was uncalled for. That was uncalled for. The whole, because, you know, of course, Zach got shot. No, actually, no. Aaron's ex-wife shot herself in front of Karen, and then her brother tried to kill Karen. Zach got stabbed, and then Karen shot him. But yeah, that was a bit uncalled for. Tyler Perry's destroying all the characters. I guess it's Fatima's turn. Yeah. Okay. And here's the thing. Yeah, Zach got stabbed, and then Karen shot the brother. Okay, here's the confusing part, because I even tweeted this prior to the episode, and then I mentioned it as the episode was going on, and Crystal retweeted my tweet about how, look, Deja's popping up, but the continuity is different. You know, it's two different shows with similar characters. Yet in this episode, Ian was name dropped. And I'm like, what? Not only that, something about an X on a yacht. I ain't gonna lie, the last few minutes were kind of a blur to me because it was all Karen this, Karen that, Karen that, and I kind of lost track of it. It was just wild. And then of course you had Zach calling Fatima Karen, and that's the end of the episode. Oh yeah, and Deja was fine as hell, of course. But I did not like Fatima in this episode. I really didn't, and it sucks. She had her moments, only when she was talking about her family, but other than that, she was just unbearable. And she literally was talking to Zach made a good point. How come every time you want to talk about Karen, I gotta like stop everything and talk about Karen? But whenever I want to talk about Karen, it's when you're ready. That's what makes me mad. Fatima isn't being open. She isn't being reasonable. She's not allowing Zach to ask of her what she demands from him. That's the best way to put it. Oh, we got 122 people. Not as much as last week due to notifications, but since Zatima isn't on this week, I'll probably do another live, the next day or so. But one thing I am happy about, the only shows I got to watch now are Assisted Living and House of Pain. And Assisted Living, this will be my last week reviewing it because my views are low. So that's good. Stupid, don't understand this. Calvin disappointed. This was really dumb. I hate the way Tyler Perry. Yeah, Tyler's just making a mess of this. I mean, I think it would have been because when Fatima was getting ready for the gym, I was like, wait a minute. So is she living with Zach now? Because look, I get it, separate continuities, but the more I think about it, the more this crap doesn't make any sense. Because technically speaking, Fatima and Zach should be engaged at this point. I don't know. I mean, like when Fatima said, let me find out you're breaking stuff just so Zach can come over there to fix it. And then Deja denied it. But I'm like, well, remember your car battery? I don't know. It's weird. Trust and believe when I say Tyler Perry's watching your videos, because everything you was talking about in your videos is now coming true in the shows. I mean, hey, somebody cut me a check. That'd be nice. Please don't stop reviewing Assisted Living. Do it just for fun. I don't have time to do it for fun because, look, even though the show load is kind of less now due to Zatima being off the air, I still need to do my season 1 overview video. Trust and believe, I still have Zatima content. I just haven't gotten around to it yet because I had a lot. Say what y'all want. Calvin held his own for the most part. Were we looking at the same fight? If Calvin wants Q out, why doesn't he just change the locks? Because Q would still be waiting at the door. Sometimes the truth hurts, and Fatima didn't want to hear it. That's my problem. Zach makes valid points, but then Fatima allows her emotions to get the better of her, and she's allowing what Ian did to ruin her current relationship. Fatima is self-sabotaging the relationship the same way Danny was with Preston. Calvin got his butt whooped. Don't stick up for him. No, exactly. Calvin, no. He started it. Q ended it. Technically, Chris ended it by breaking it up, but still. Full face of makeup at the gym. Yeah. Even Issa Rae on Insecure went in with a headscarf. I can't. He fell and then Q took advantage. As Smokey said, take advantage, man. Take advantage. No. But I mean, I don't want to hate on this episode, but it just didn't do it for me. It really didn't. Because it just dragged on. Like, did we really need that much time with Danny talking trash. Like, Danny was talking a lot of trash for someone who really isn't doing much of anything herself. Because just because Andy's a lawyer, it doesn't mean she can handle everything. Like she said, I'm a divorce lawyer. This is federal. I don't know what I'm doing. I can make some calls. That's why I hate. It's like the person who can't do shit is talking the most shit. That's the one thing I hate. It's like, so and thankfully Andy told, why do I get the feeling Danny's going to call Logan anyway? She's going to call Logan, leading to more incriminating evidence, and her wig was horrible. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about her looks. I try not to do that, but it's her attitude that was making me mad. Fatima's just insecure from her. Hey, I get that. But the way Fatima was acting was completely uncalled for. Q deserves to get beat, just not by Calvin. Call Craig Ice Cube. Andy's the only person and can only do so much, and none of the girls get it. Not to mention, like she said, like I mentioned in multiple videos, Robin probably can't or won't help because of the fact that how many times is Andy going to come to him trying to get somebody out of jail? Because of the fact that Sabrina isn't an employee at the law firm like Fatima, nor was she involved in a fight with a law firm employee like Zach was with Hayden. So there's zero reason for Robin to help out Sabrina, especially for a federal crime. I have not seen the preview. Actually, let me check my messages. Maybe somebody sent it to me. Bear with me one moment. Hey, somebody sent it. Give me a second. Yeah, Terry, thank you for that. Let me watch it right now. Your videos are better than the show. Andy's not weak. She a hoe. Fatima going to throw a weight at Zach said. I know it. Hang on, it's loading. So Q's going to be at the airport next week. Miss Lisa's going to call, I guess, Aaron and Zach. But Fatima, if you're not in love with Karen, you wouldn't be calling me her name. It literally turned into a Peter Piper picked a peck up. It turned into a tongue twister at the end there. Why is she I don't know. Sister's getting on my nerves. I quit watching and just watch your reviews. Guys, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm going to be less ranty. I feel like I'm happy because I have been liberated from the haters on Monday because I'm right. So that's why I'm not up here ranting and complaining. But Sisters is just disappointing because you have this great character of Fatima and you just somebody's like, I understand that, but you don't call your woman someone else's name. But when that name is being mentioned like 50 times in 2 seconds and your woman is acting just like the woman who she's talking about, it happens. So now Zach's developed. What did Zach do? Seriously, it's like Zach said, what did I do? Why are you? No. So this episode was a solid 5. I rated it a 4, maybe I'm going to stick with a 4. The only things I felt were worth talking about or got me excited was Fatima foreshadowing Madam. That's it. The show was promising. This is why Zatima being so good is a blessing and a curse. Due to the fact that with Fatima being so good in writing and pacing, it's not perfect. But okay, sorry about that. Sorry, another tweet. Somebody actually apologized. Yo, that's why I think people are misleading what you're saying. The way Fatima's acting is like Karen. You're not saying this girl's whole life is like Karen. The way they acted, I would have thought you said you hated Fatima. See, that's what I appreciate that. Somebody admitting I misinterpreted your tweet. Sure. Could it have used more context? Absolutely. But Twitter only allows so many characters. Also, also, the fact that you just said you're anti-Fatima because of one tweet is ridiculous. It really is. So yeah, trust and believe. I'm not letting this go. I'm not letting this go. I'm gonna keep bringing it up. So you can call me arrogant or whatever, but you get many if you get semi dragged. Which again, when I saw how small the pages were that were like trying to call me out, I just laughed because I'm like, oh, this is what it's like. This is what it's like. Yeah. If you're late, don't worry. Apparently, YouTube didn't send out notifications. I'm a I'm honestly supposed to do a live stream with Nathan from Zatima in about 5 minutes. I'm waiting to hear from him. So you might as well brag. I don't blame you. Oh no, I'm going to brag. I'm going to brag. What is wrong with Tyler Perry in the writing? Yeah, I don't know what's wrong. Oh wow, Tyler Perry's on his way to the Black Panther premiere. Lucky. See, he's going to see Black Panther, and we got a lackluster ass episode of Sisters. How's that fair? Hang on a sec. I'm actually going to try to message him right now. All right. I appreciate your reviews. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to do my review for Sisters. Well, honestly, these live streams always do better than the reviews, which kind of makes sense. The reviews happen. I mean, the live streams happen right after the episode. The episodes get I mean, my reviews get posted within a day. So, but like I said, thankfully, which is sad though, no Zatima tomorrow, so I don't have to watch 2 episodes, add on reviews. I can get my reviews done early in the morning. Fingers crossed they release the trailers for next week too. So maybe my trailer breakdowns can be up tomorrow as well. There are a lot of better black writers out there that you could look at. Yeah, he needs to use that 9 million for his assistants in the writer's room. Oh yeah, because of the accountants being fired. Yeah, I saw that. Did a video on it too. Yeah, the Fatima being mad at that final scene, it felt way too forced. It felt way too forced. Uh no, I didn't see why Tyler Perry gets dragged online by other critics. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I think I think as a person, if you're not someone who regularly consumes Tyler Perry content, then you really don't have much to say. You can say, "Hey, I tried to watch you know, this show or this movie, I didn't like it." Fair enough. But if you haven't watched a good amount of Tyler Perry stuff and then said everything's the same, then you kind of have no legs to stand on. Sure, you can be a critic with better writing, so there's that. But I feel like with us together, all of us, people watching, people who will watch this later on, we're Tyler Perry fans, and the fact that we talk about all these shows because we watch a lot of his content, we kind of have a right to say what's good and what's not good because we're the consumers. We're the ones who, boost the ratings, buy the DVDs or stream the content or buy the movie tickets. So that's how I look at it. And yeah, I definitely think The Oval was way better than Sisters this week. The Oval, I gave that a 9 out of 10. The Oval was way better. The writing and pacing needs work. That's my thing. Zatima was so good. Now the other shows look even worse by comparison because it's like, okay, so if Tyler can make Zatima this good, why is Sister so bad? Why? And I'm not going to mention the Oval because it's actually good right now. Um, but yeah, another person's like, hey, I was one of them. Hell, now after the night's episode, I can even vouch for that Karen-like behavior from Fatima. That's all I'm asking. Oh yeah, just talked to Nathan, and I know that he said we would do Instagram live, but somebody said we're doing Twitter space, which I've never done before. So I don't trust and believe. Like once he's eating something real quick, but once me and him finalize the details, I will let you know. Like, hey, jump over to Instagram because I'm going to be on there with Nathan. The fight scene with Calvin was funny. When I looked at it, my nephew watched. This is how bad the episode was. My nephew, who's getting over a cold, was like, I want to watch the episode. I'm like, EJ, last week's episode of Sistas sucked. And this episode doesn't look too much better. I think you ought to, after you took your medicine, I think you ought to just lay down, watch some cartoons, and go to sleep. I want to watch Sisters. He comes in here within like the 27-minute mark. He's like, okay, I'm going to go. I'm like, wait, Zach and Fatima are coming up. I'll just watch it on the couch. I don't feel like, nah, this ain't, nah, I don't want to watch the rest of it. When a 12-year-old tells you an episode was bad, that should tell you an episode was bad. Yeah, I do feel kind of nervous about the interview. Not the interview itself, but remember, I'm not in my apartment. I don't like the way my space looks, and the Wi-Fi isn't that strong. So trust and believe, I probably could have interviewed every single Zatima cast member, but due to my circumstances, so fingers crossed, nothing goes wrong. Tyler Perry is enamored with quantity over quality. Yep, Sisters has reached a point where you have to say to yourself to watch or not to watch. Andy uses too many favors from Robin. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And next week, isn't she going to be called into Robin's office for that sit down? So that ain't good. The Jacoby fight was still the best fight. And it wasn't even a fight, it was a one-hit knockout. This was just embarrassing. This was embarrassing because I was just looking like, what are you doing, Calvin? I don't think Zach is in love with Karen, but of course he still loves her. There's so many levels to this right now. And I'll do is not to mention the woman. Yeah. Warlock or Q, who is worse as a villain? Q, I don't think is that good of a villain because every Tyler had to write it where every character involved with Q had to be a complete moron for Q to succeed. Warlock was threatening. I didn't like Warlock as he got towards the end of his time on the show because he became a rabid dog as opposed to the calm, cool, and composed, anti-hero. I wouldn't even call him an anti-hero, but he was that one ally where if you step out of line once, he can become your worst enemy. So I think Warlock I would put over Q. Also, this shows you how crappy the writing is. Tyler couldn't even come up with an excuse good enough to maintain Q's inclusion in the show. Chris asked, Calvin, why don't you just call the police? That's that white stuff. I ain't doing that. So the only reason Q is still going to be in the apartment is because Calvin doesn't want to call the cops because it's the white thing to do. Calvin, you're light white, damn near white yourself. Come on now. I'm not saying I hate Karen, but if Madam just strolls in and has her killed off, I wouldn't really say anything. Honestly, I wouldn't mind Fatima calling in Madam to kill off several characters. You know what? Just watch Zatima. I know it sounds bad, but if you want to watch a show that isn't perfect, but it's a heck of a lot better than Sisters, rewatch Zatima. I would happily rewatch any episode of Zatima Wednesday at 9 o'clock, then watch Sisters. That's the honest truth. That's the honest truth. Zach, Hayden, Aaron, Zach and Hayden, Zach and Aaron, Maurice and Alonzo, top 3 fights in the series. I'm not going to lie. I would still put Andy against Jasmine and her goons in the parking garage simply because Andy held her own pretty well against 2 different opponents. Jasmine just slapped her and then sent her 2 girls to fight Andy. But again, Andy was holding her own pretty well until Fatima showed up to save her. So I wouldn't even call that a fight. That was more of a scuffle. But yeah, I'm glad you are here to explain these things to us. Appreciate it. Yes, madam. Andy can't fight either. Nah, she really can't. But like I said, she held her own better than expected. Sorry, I was checking my messages. Yeah, my thing is don't get into a fight if you can't fight. Like I said, I've never been in a fight myself, so I can't really sit here and say, man, you should I would have won that. But I will say that, okay, this fight isn't that good. No, it isn't good. That was just, I mean, like I tweeted out, I said, so what? Now that Q kicked Calvin's ass, is is Calvin going to be the one to cook dinner and wash dishes now? What's up with that? Madam just shows up with her purse and set it off. Does the team of time? Yeah, look, I know that Val said it's separate universes, but this episode just messed things up way too much. Ian got name dropped. At last week, we knew Deja's moved in, but Fatima, is she moved in with Zach now or not? There are so many things that make no sense. There are so many things that make no sense. So, are we supposed? Look, see, that's the thing. When I think back to what DeVal said, he said, hey, don't worry about the times. Think of these as 2 different universes. Got it. But then at the same time, it's like, hey, when Zach and Fatima aren't on screen on Sisters, think of it, that's when Zatima stuff happens. Tyler should have definitely gotten someone to make the continuity better. So it's hard to differentiate, separate the shows when you have so much continuity just thrown in there. There are no separate universes now with all these crossovers. I'm confused at this point. I need Fatima to have on a ring. Shani, look, I don't know. So Fatima timelines move fast, Sisters move slow. Yeah, I haven't counted the days, but I feel like we almost had close to a week covered in Zatima in 10 episodes, whereas Sisters takes an entire season to even have close to a week. 4 days if it's a good season. Well, yeah, it's weird how that works. It really is. I hope we don't have to watch Preston break the whole season. This tell me. You flew to Texas. I'm assuming he went to Texas. He said he was out of town. I'm assuming he, went to Texas. You left Georgia for Texas, and you're saying, I'm going to come back to Atlanta to have dinner and talk. For what? Weren't you also going to talk about Karen's nice nature? I talked about that briefly. It's the fact that, well, she's acting like, well, I just want Zach to move. I just want to, move on from Zach and have him take care of his baby. None of Karen's actions for the past season and a half have reflected that. And you don't even know if that's his baby. That's all I had to say. Because she's acting all, pleasant and nice, but it's not going to last. Like I said, once these letters get read and Zach doesn't come back to her, she's going to start acting like a bitch again. So, what's up? How was your day? Thanks for asking. Very exhausting. I was, all the videos I posted over the past 24 hours, had to edit and get those up quick. Could you interview the main Sistas cast? The only one I talk with semi-frequently is KJ. So maybe Novi would be down for an interview. But aside from a tweet too, I've never spoken with Mignon, and I have never interacted with Ebony. How much time has gone by in Zatima and Zach? Oh, for the love of God, don't ask me that. Don't ask me that. No, the timeline. Who was I talking with the other day? I think I was talking with one of the Zatima cast about how the Sistas timeline makes no sense. So please do not ask me about how much time has passed. Because even if I went episode to episode and counted up how many days have passed, a character will say something or do something that throws the entire continuity out of whack. So it makes no sense. We haven't seen Maurice yet, and honestly, I don't care. Same here. It would have been nice to see, them in jail just once. So I think Maurice is still in the show. His actor's probably not playing a major role this season. I just can't see Tyler Perry bringing a baby on the show. Even, the little boy that plays Zach's son, he probably won't be in a ton of episodes either. Look at how many shows actually have babies around a lot anyway. I think with Tyler Perry's filming schedule, it just won't work. Correct me if I'm wrong, but on House of Pain, we've never physically seen Malik and Lisa's baby. We've seen a baby being held, but it's probably not real. I like Zach's character more New York than Atlanta. We need a time skip in Sisters. Tired of Calvin getting beaten up. Well, tell him to stop starting fights. Sorry about that. I'm pulling up the chat. I had to minimize it real quick. All right. Well, DeVal is a real-time New Yorker. The Oval has gone too far over the timeline. Yeah, I don't even want to think about the timeline. I've talked about that so many times that the Oval is ahead of Ruthless, but the Oval season 4 is so much better than season 3. Excuse me. And it's proving to be so much better than Sister season 5. At this point, it's not a spinoff, it's a standalone. Yeah, I agree. Plus, Ruthless, what is it, next month? Do you think Benny, a lot like Zach in the situation? Oh, yeah. Where did I talk about it? Was it on Twitter or a live or a video I did? I said, yeah. Or no, was it the video I did about Benny having, no, I don't know. I know I mentioned it to somebody about Tyler Lepley and DeVal kind of favoring each other with the facial hair and whatnot. So it would be cool if Benny and Zach knew each other. I can't remember a lot of OG House of Pain episodes. I remember them, but I can't really pick favorites. I love their holiday episodes and whenever Medea showed up. My guess is Barry's actor was working on filming the game and those movies he was currently in. So that's why Barry's just gone. But I don't really understand why Barry just up and disappeared and nobody noticed. That was pretty weird. I think Tyler needs to think more of character usefulness to the actual storylines in the Shanny, I've been saying that for like years now. He's just got these actors here for no reason. There's no reason for Calvin to still be around, Preston to be around, Gary. It's stupid. I understand you like to work with certain actors and you want to give them work. That's great. But if you can't write solid material to justify them still being there, that's dumb. I think that's going to be the reason for Nancy to go to the Rakadushis. Yeah, but I think she's doing that for Callie. Even though that's still dumb. Oh man, we can keep it going. So, any other questions? I think I'm pretty much done. There's nothing to talk about. All I got to say is I've been vindicated because I've been proven right. There are some people still like, well, she's not acting like Karen. It's the fact that Karen's name kept coming up and it slipped over. Shut up. You're just making up excuses. Zatima storylines feel more realistic. Yes and no. I will talk about that in my season one overview. Let me give you a short synopsis of that. The problem with Zatima, and I feel like I'm going to contradict myself. Personally, I think 10 episodes is enough. We don't need 20 episode seasons. Secondly, the pacing is great, but at the same time, I feel like Tyler crams so much in there, we don't have time to appreciate moments when they happen. Zach and Fatima got engaged. That should have been a big moment, but it felt overshadowed by Fatima bringing Ian to the table, by Deja throwing herself at Zach when soon as they got home, and then the bulk of the finale being related to Nathan's cheating on his wife and Bryce, coming on to Zach. So it didn't really feel like, as an audience, or even Zach and Fatima had time to enjoy their new engagement. Sure, once Fatima calmed down and her and Zach had one hell of a night together, that was it. So I feel like Zatima, there's so much more. It was a lot of stuff that didn't need to be in there. That's what I think. It's still a great show, still my favorite Viacom project. I don't know if I would put it above the first like two seasons of the Haves and Have Nots. It's up there though. I would say Zatima and the early Haves and Have Nots are like right there, but I don't think it's fair to put a 10 episode project at the very top above a show that's over 100, almost 200 episodes. But Zatima really, really, really stood out. I think the actors are great. It's the writing that sucks. It's almost like Tyler doesn't believe in Black love. Nancy's not going to remember anything, so get ready for the repetitive line. Yeah, I agree. They should have a bigger moment. Yeah, it just felt like there was just way too much. The DNA test, Bryce making a move on Zach, Nathan cheating, Ian being brought back into the picture. It didn't feel like the right time. I know people were, I don't want to say I was dragged, but people were mad at me for saying that the proposal just didn't happen at the right time. I mean, well, yeah, you could say my tweet this week, it started a couple weeks ago. By the way, do you think the president got buried, kidnapped? No. No. Yeah, the Emmett Till movie, Laquita, I heard that's pretty good. I heard it's doing pretty well. And it was well received. Oh, tripping. Sorry, I was looking at Twitter. I have a good 4 women show for you. Yeah, I heard about Who Run the Worlds. Who is your favorite Tyler Perry villain? That's a difficult one because I feel like so many villains start off good, but then Tyler makes them get too over the top that it's unrealistic. Yep. Seriously, I mean, what in the world? What in the world does Andy and Gary getting back together? How does that make sense? Like, what justified them being cordial with each other enough for Andy to let Gary come over there with a damn list? What happened between them sitting in Hayden's office to when he called her on the phone? I started reviewing Harlem, but then I stopped at episode like 2, even though I should finish it. I heard it was pretty good. And I know they're currently filming season 2 right now, or they're in the works of season 2. And just congrats to Tyler Lepley, aka Benjamin Young. He has a new son. He's getting a lot of work. Couldn't be happier for him because what he said, the Haves and the Have Nots was his first show, and now look at him. So just congrats to him. We all know Andy got them hoe tendencies. That's pretty much it. YouTube delete my comments. Not to my knowledge. I mean, some comments that are deleted or hidden for review, I see them, but if they have like certain words or language, then it won't pop up. So that's not me doing that. That's YouTube. It doesn't make sense for Andy to go back to Gary. It's just way too forced and it makes no sense. That's the one thing about Danny I will say I agree with in this episode, but she just kept running her mouth too long. Okay, Nathan just messaged me. 1 second. He says he's ready. I'm just confirming if we're doing it on Twitter or Instagram. Andy needs to stick with Robin. There could be enough drama sleeping with the boss. Gary's not needed. Okay, we're going to go to my Instagram. Let me put in my handle here. Okay, the HAHN. That's me on Instagram. Go over to Instagram right now because I'm going to go live with Nathan from Zatima. I'm kind of nervous, not for the live, but I'm like, oh gosh, what if other cast members come aboard? So that's going to be pretty wild. So yeah, let me get set up here. Like I said, I really miss my apartment right now because I had better internet and everything. So I got to set this up, get this all straight. So thanks for joining in. Since notifications didn't go out, I'll probably do another live stream either tomorrow or Friday. So be on the lookout for that. Episode review for Sistas coming out tomorrow, but this live I feel like was more fun because it was more interactive. So see you on Instagram and let's get to this interview as soon as I hit the right button.